From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole.
I am so excited. Today we have installed the 17th drop box here in Weld County.
This is a video by Carly Koppes. She's the Weld County clerk and recorder, and she posts lots of informational videos around election time, telling voters how to cast a ballot or how to get ready for Election Day.
Which is the military and overseas ballots start to go out tomorrow, which we are super excited that we are going to meet that federal deadline.
But here's what keeps Carly and a lot of other election officials up at night. Artificial intelligence is developing so quickly that a bad actor could take this video and convincingly alter Carly's voice so she says something misleading, like giving the wrong hours when polls are open. Carly Koppes recently gathered with other clerks from Colorado's 64 counties as they talked about those scenarios that give them nightmares as election night approaches. The election is now just 3 weeks away, and ballots are showing up in voters' mailboxes right around now. So today, we're listening back to a conversation I had with Carly about that conference. She talked about how she and the other clerks workshopped how they might respond to misleading emails or social media posts, including some audio and video clips known as deepfakes.
There was actually a robocall from Secretary of State Griswold who sounded exactly like her, and it was not a true one. And then another scenario was, okay, your county clerk and recorder has now been out there supposedly on social media posting these videos or audio recordings. What is your response going to be? So it was working through those scenarios of who should you be contacting? What can you do at the county level or the city level to say, okay, that's not actually correct information, and here's how we can prove it.
Well, and as you point out, election misinformation isn't new. There was definitely a lot of attention on it during the 2016 and 2020 elections. How does generative AI take the creation of misinformation to a whole new level?
Well, what we've already seen in this year of 2024 is earlier this year during the presidential primaries, we had the fake robocall of President Biden in the New Hampshire primary, encouraging voters with bad information.
Okay, and before we hear this, I want to stress this is fabricated audio of the president encouraging people not to vote in the primary.
Voting this Tuesday only enables the Republicans in their quest to elect Donald Trump again. Your vote makes a difference in November, not this Tuesday.
So we've already seen it active and live in election, but really making it to where you can take a video of mine off of Facebook, recreate it, and re-push it back out there into the social media sphere. We just don't have an answer of how we're going to combat that at this point in time. Because, I've done thousands of radio interviews, TV interviews, and I've put a lot of videos out there. It would be pretty easy with how advanced and how quickly advanced AI is becoming to get more misinformation out there and make it be harder for us to debunk.
Right. Do you worry that a really good deep fake of you could be used to not only mislead voters, but mislead other election officials?
I definitely do believe that is a concern for me, just due to the fact that since 2020 in Colorado, I've been pretty aggressive on pushing back against the bad information and, frankly, the bad actors when it comes to them trying to say that elections are fraudulent and they're, not trustworthy. I've been pretty big in that sphere and have been targeted because of me being so open and vocal and standing in that gap and using my microphone to push back on that narrative. I definitely see that I would be one of the top ones here in Colorado, that they would definitely say, let's use her and do a deep AI fake on her because she has been so out there against us.
Yeah.
She would be one that would be a good one to pick up on.
I'm curious, Carly, where are these so-called bad actors located? Are you and other county clerks worried about Russian interference, for instance?
Yes. Interesting enough, about a month ago during one of my national board calls, we had some of the federal government agencies come in and give us some statistics that they have been tracking over the last couple of years. And at this point in time, little old me here in Weld County, Colorado, I'm going to have to go up against Russia and China and Iran, along with domestic groups as well. So it definitely is a concern. We know that they are using built up influencer accounts and selling those on the black market to Russia and China and Iran to infiltrate the social media sphere with bad information. So good luck to all of us.
Carly stressed that the most trusted place for local election information is your county's official website. And then we switched gears to talk about a high-profile Colorado case that may have shaken voters' confidence in elections. Carly, one thing I wanted to ask you about, one item in the news recently was the conviction of Tina Peters. She's the Mesa County clerk who tampered with election equipment and spread misinformation saying the 2020 election had been rigged. How has that story affected the questions that you hear from the public?
She is a very interesting case. Obviously, it was very heartbreaking to find out what she did. To have somebody who was a colleague act in the manner that she did and now ultimately be found guilty for her actions. The last few years, she has really driven a lot of people to come after us other Republican county clerks like myself about why don't you do what she did? Why are you not following her lead? Why don't you have those questions? And so a lot of the integrity piece of it has been driven hard against some of us Republican clerks because the information that she's put out there has not been correct at all. It's not very solid pieces of information. They're very easy for someone like myself to debunk. I mean, I don't even want to try to estimate how many hours I've spent combating what she has put out there, along with her supporters and the attacks that they have driven against myself and other clerks that have stood up against what she did, and also the bad information she produced from what she did.
You know, Carly, it seems like simply raising this subject and talking about it can lower voters' confidence in the election process. Do you ever feel conflicted about how much to talk about this?
I don't feel conflicted about talking about it. I think everybody needs to be aware of what we are potentially facing when it's coming to elections. So one, they know that we're aware of it. We're not, sticking our head in the sand and ignoring it, but we are being active and understanding that this could potentially cause you, the voter, to not want to cast your ballot. So I'm completely open and okay with talking about this subject. So they know that because of our checks and balances and the type of election model we have, even if that is going out there in the social media sphere as far as deepfake videos, that really truly has zero impact on my ability and my election teams and my volunteer judges coming in and counting your paper ballot accurately. It's not going to have an impact on how we actually do our job. Our elections are secure, they are transparent, they are fair, and they have very high integrity. So no matter what type of AI stuff is happening, it's not going to have any type of actual impact on how your voice is going to be recorded in an election.
Carly Koppas is Weld County's clerk and recorder. With the election fast approaching, we'll include some links to learn more about this in our show notes and at KUNC.org. That's it for us today on In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Thank you so much for listening.